All right, it's farm update time. Let's go. All right, so it's been another little while since I've done one of these. It's now December, back end of December. So we've just basically closed up shop for the Christmas break, and the last couple of, to be honest, the last month has been pretty hectic. I also came down with flu, which just ruined my energy levels, so I didn't really have a lot of energy to do one of these. So yeah, it's gonna look a lot different. We have obviously vineyard in the ground. You would have seen the video of the guys installing the actual vines, like digging the actual vines, but it's been probably around about 4 weeks since then, and I've actually mowed the cover crop once already. My little Auric mower machine does like this in both just basically 2 passes, and it actually gets really, really close to the vines, which is awesome. So basically I've just been running up and down with like a slash or like a whippersnipper, getting in between the vines while they're still sort of juvenile. Because we're not spraying them, we kind of want to go organic with this. And I understand there are some things that we can do for organics. I'm just basically at the moment, until such time as we've actually established vines, I'm basically going to be spraying nothing sort of on here for the most part, until such time as I probably realize the error of my ways and end up doing it differently. But so far the whippersnipper seems to be working. I'll give you a bit of a sneak peek into some of these vines have shot, some haven't. Here's one. I'll see if this camera actually picks it up. I'm not sure if that's focusing right or wrong. That's about here, and the sticks are down there. So, we're already getting sort of shooting. There's sort of 4 or 5 or 3 or 4 buds on there that are all going, and once sort of it comes through and we can train it along the wire here, then we can sort of decide which cane to keep. I didn't realize young vines need a lot of water, but we're irrigating this 2 hours every second day, and then we'll gradually sort of wean it off that as we feel it's appropriate. This summer so far has actually been super mild. It's December 21st of December today, and it's tops of 23 degrees Celsius. So awesome. We love these mild temperatures. Even though we don't have a lot of water, it means vines and stuff aren't stressed too much. This is the cover crop now established well and truly across where we hope to one day have the Unico cellar door. When we leveled all this area, we completely buggered up all the irrigation. So our mate Levi came in and fixed up basically the filter system, and where I'm walking here, he's actually dug a sub-mains through and given us 3 headers to be able to access irrigation with for what I'm walking up here for, which will be the market garden, which is basically ready to go. Now that we've got water cover crops in, and one last obstacle is that we have a metric boatload of rabbits, crazy amounts of rabbits. I'll wake up in the morning and see 25 rabbits, a lot of rabbits, all in the Hill of Death, my nemesis. If you've been watching this channel long enough and watching any of the farm updates, you'll realize or know already how much I dislike the ferns growing on this hill. And I thought I'd conquered them. Honestly, there was a solid, through winter, there was we were good, but check this out. It's back. They're back. They're a little bit less dense, maybe 50% less dense than the previous year. I've also not gone up there and done a first cut for the season yet. I'm not too sure what to do at this point. What's really good to see is all those sort of long white bits flicking in the wind. That's the grasses going to seed. So the idea is just out competing it with as much seed as possible. Again, we haven't sprayed a single lick of herbicide, fungicide or pesticide since jumping on here. Just for those as well, because there's a few people that I've spoken to that kind of think that we're anti that. I'm kind of not. It's just, if I've got the opportunity to build something from scratch, then why wouldn't I try to build in the system so I don't need to use pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, or at least that much. And it's no shade on the previous farmers as well. The previous farmers have actually helped us out a lot in getting to this point. So we've got these sort of headers that come out of the main sort of sub-mains, and this is teed up to some little irrigation pods. So if you look down this way in a sec, we've been trying to push the cover crop here to seed, just so we don't need to be introducing more seed into the area. So, of course, if we've got a ton of seed already in here, it means the competition against any kind of weeds and stuff that crop up, which plenty of weeds are. A lot of I think it's called goosefoot or pigweed or something. But yeah, so far so good. We can get a fence put in the next couple of months. We've already teed up a polytunnel. We've already got the duck house, and Laura's already figured out what sort of fruit trees and in-ground stuff we're going to be doing first. So yeah. Anyway, let's see more of the farm. How cool's this? This kind of came out of nowhere. This, guys, is a English oak. It's pretty well established. You know, like that's at least maybe a 2-year-old tree here. And in fact, there's a few of them. There's like 3 of them here. So I'm not too sure how this happened. Like, it must have been a bird, because the closest oak tree that I can see here is there's a big oak over there. Massive one, beautiful thing. Initially, we thought to keep the willow that we accidentally burnt down and, you know, let that regrow. But willows aren't great for water systems. They're actually can be quite damaging. But oak trees are actually awesome. Like, they live a really, really long time. They're largely like fire resistant, so they tend to survive like the harsher bushfires, and they tend to be really good homes to animals as well. It's not saying like willows are, you know, but if I were to choose the difference between, you know, like an oak and a willow, I'd totally choose an oak. So maybe we might actually end up pulling what's left of that willow out and transplant this oak over there. Looks like we're gonna have another really good year for blackberries. If we can get a little bit more water, it would be nice. But what I've learned, for those who watch the channel that have young kids that are like yet to grow up, if you can get free blackberries, pick as many as you can. 30, 40, 50 kilo a year. Toddlers smash blackberries like they're going out of fashion, and they're very expensive. So we're totally gonna take advantage this year. All right, let's keep moving. Here's a bit of a fun one. So this tree here dropped a massive limb across the way here. You wouldn't believe this, but all of this stuff here probably took me close to about 3 weeks worth of running back up and down, utilizing an electric chainsaw. I had this idealistic idea that we're just gonna roll with only electric implements and tools here, but the reality is it gives you like 5 to 10 minutes of cutting when you're talking about something sort of as serious as that. It doesn't cut the mustard. I don't have 3 weeks to cut one of these things up. In fact, the only reason it's actually pushed to one side is because someone else with an excavator felt sorry for me and decided to push it out of the way. Yeah, all right, rant over, you get me. I'm gonna get myself a chainsaw. This, in my last video, I was saying that there was guys that were pulling sort of the wires and the irrigation out. Hunter Brothers, who did a lot of the work, the big dozers and stuff, they actually just pushed all of the stuff over, and then that'll sit there until basically we're in the middle of fire ban. You can't light fires at the moment, because if you know anything about Australia, fires in the wrong time of year are devastating, especially here. We've been through 2 massive fires in the last decade. Fortunately missed this property. Or maybe get like a front end loader with a forestry attachment and just sort of buzz it down, and then we can just push the wood chips everywhere. And eventually this will be planted next year, so we'll end up doing something with it. You'll hear about it in one of these updates, no doubt. So this here, the Granny Smith block, this will be planted this time next year. So this will be at the same stage as the current vineyard block. I'm tempted to call it the quartz block actually, because I've been finding chunks of quartz. Like every time that I would walk out to check on the irrigation or something like that, I'll find like 8 or 9 of these massive chunks. I've just been putting them all in the vineyard row. So maybe that'll be called the quartz block Fiano. So remember how I told you we're going to build a house up on the other side of the property? There's been a bit of work happening here. We've obviously already cut and leveled out the site. But, you know, there's a big main road going through the opposite side of the property, and that's where we want to put like a cellar door and farm where people can come and visit and check it out. And the only place that the council would let us put like a commercial grade driveway off that road is basically dead smack bang where our current house, the farmhouse, resides. So we have to build a house to knock a house down so we can build a driveway into the car park, so we can actually have people here, like legally, at least according to our local council or county for those in the States. It's a simple house, it's nothing sort of crazy. That said, I'm acutely aware of young people in this current economic climate and world at the moment. Just the fact of owning your own house is just a total and complete and utter luxury. So exceptionally lucky, let alone just buying a house but building one. It's just crazy. So I feel a bit bad, to be honest. I'd take this over the farmhouse because farmhouse is falling apart. But yeah, I'd rather invest more money into the vineyard. But yeah, building a house. Also, massive shout out to the person who on my last farm update, or one of my last ones, talking about casarinas here, who told us all about how they can be boiled down into like a Shio Tea and then applied like via spray to fight mildew. of all things. And it's actually really cool for me because there's two types of mildew that we worry about, powdery and downy, but this doesn't help fight downy. It actually helps fight powdery. Fiano, it doesn't really have an issue with downy. It actually has an issue with powdery. So I'm actually gonna trial using these sort of Shio needles. That's a new one, that's novel, and I'm stoked because I have thousands of Shios on this property. So awesome, thank you. All right, I'll try to keep a few of these going every maybe month or so, maybe a little bit less, just because a lot's going on in the farm at the moment. So most of the house should be sort of done. We should be, I guess, start moving in, or at least be close to it within that period of time, which is pretty amazing in and of itself. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we've managed to find a fencing contractor that is willing to throw a rabbit-proof fence together for us, so we can actually start all the farming, the market garden side of things. We should have vines on the wire. It'll end up looking like an actual vineyard come the next 6 weeks, so that'll be pretty exciting to be able to show you. Anyway, thank you so much for chiming in. Obviously, any questions into the comments. We do read every single one of them. If we don't get back to you straight away, it's just because we tend to just block out time to respond to everyone in one hit. But it's coming up on the back end of the year when I'm filming this, so I'm sure by the time this gets uploaded, this is going to be a bit redundant, but Merry Christmas and hope you enjoy the festive season. See you next year.